Hello everybody, welcome to QuickSave, your quick checkpoint in the week for all the video game news. My name is Gold, and how has your week been? I hope it's been well, I'll be honest. GameStop, out of nowhere, making a bid for eBay so they could compete with Amazon, was not on my bingo card for this week. In fact, I highly doubt it was on anyone's bingo card. But what was on my bingo card was for a fantastic show today. Did you see that transition? Woo! So let's get right into story number one. This comes from Andy Robinson at VGC. Nintendo's Takeshi Tezuka, director of classic Mario and Zelda games, is retiring. Tezuka is the latest company veteran to retire from Nintendo. Veteran Nintendo designer Takeshi Tezuka, who has directed some of the company's most influential games stretching back to the original Super Mario Bros., is retiring from the company. In a note published alongside its latest financial results, Nintendo confirmed that Tezuka will retire from his role as an executive officer on June 26, 2026. Tezuka is one of the most experienced game designers at Nintendo, having directed classic games such as The Legend of Zelda, Super Mario World, The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past, and Yoshi's Island. Most notably, Tezuka was the producer of Super Mario Bros. Wonder. At 65, Tezuka is at Nintendo's typical retirement age, though his longtime collaborator Shigeru Miyamoto, who is 73, remains active at the company as executive fellow. Nintendo has seen a number of prominent creators leave the company in the past few years, though some have retired rather than find work elsewhere. In January, it was revealed that both Hideki Kano, known for Mario Kart and Yoshi's Island, and Kensuke Tanabe, who worked on Super Mario Bros. 2 and 3 and the Metroid Prime series, had both retired from Nintendo. At 60 and 62 respectively, Kano and Tanabe were just two of many prominent Nintendo creators from the Famicom and Super Famicom era at or approaching retirement age, including Shigeru Miyamoto, Super Metroid director Yoshio Sakamoto, who's 65, composer Koji Kondo, who is 64, Zelda boss Eiji Aonuma, 63, and Super Mario Kart designer Tadashi Sugiyama, who is 66. Now, I did a little bit of researching, and Tezuka was also the assistant director for Super Mario 64, the producer for the original Animal Crossing back in 2001, and he worked as a producer or a supervisor for things like Ocarina of Time, Pikmin 1, 2, and 4, Luigi's Mansion, Wind Waker, and more. Hopefully this won't be a terrible thing, because obviously this man is incredibly talented and has given out some of the biggest and best games that we've ever got. Though I do think that'll leave the door open for some new talent to bring in new ideas into Nintendo properties, which I'm sure is probably already happening a lot more that we just don't really realize. It seems like Nintendo's very quiet already as, what internal studio is making what and who the directors are and who's working on it. They usually never announce those things as of late. And they just say, just look at the credits when you get the game and you can see who does what. Which is sort of a weird way to put it, but maybe they just want, this is a Nintendo game. And no more than that. But congratulations to Mr. Tezuka. But I hope that he has a wonderful retirement and that whoever takes his place is able to do the job justice. Story number 2. This comes from Mike Strahl at Insider Gaming. Xbox is no longer developing Copilot for consoles. Huzzah! In March, Microsoft announced that its AI assistant Copilot was coming to Xbox Series X and S later in 2026. Now, just about 2 months after that was announced, that no longer appears to be the case. In a post on social media on Tuesday, Xbox CEO Asha Sharma announced that development of Copilot for consoles will stop. In addition, the company will begin winding down Copilot on mobile. Xbox needs to move faster, deepen our connection with the community, and address friction for both players and developers, she wrote, pointing to the changes within Xbox leadership. Today, we promoted leaders who helped build Xbox while also bringing in new voices to help push us forward. This balance is important as we get the business back on track. As part of this shift, you'll see us begin to retire features that don't align with where we're headed. We will begin winding down Copilot on mobile and will stop development of Copilot on consoles. No other details about what this means for the future of Copilot in general were mentioned, but it seems clear that the demand for it on Xbox Series X and S and other hardware just wasn't there for gamers. As mentioned, Xbox also underwent leadership changes under Sharma. Joining Xbox moving forward are Jared Parmel, VP of Engineering, Tim Allen, Lead Design, Jonathan McKay, Growth, Data Platform, and Analytics Lead, and Evan Chkai, Engineering Lead, all of whom spent time on the Microsoft Core AI team with Sharma. Jason Rowland, the VP of Next Gen, is also being promoted, though his new title is unknown. I think this is for the best. When you watch some of the trailers, which are playing right now, though you can't hear it, the Copilot, it just sort of seems stupid. One of the examples was even asking, this hero's taken in Overwatch, who should I play? And I guess in one sense, that could be slightly useful. But in the other sense, figure it out yourself. I don't think it's necessary. I'm sure there are uses for this, but overall, people have a mind, and if they don't, they'll just click the buttons till they figure it out. The thing that is most notable to me from this whole story is that Tim Allen is going to be working at Xbox. Oh, wait. Oh, maybe it's not that Tim Allen. Ah, darn it. Story number 3. This comes from Lewis Parker at Kotaku. And yes, once again, I just can't get by a week without talking about it. Mind's Eye Studio hit with more mass layoffs just as it was promising a turnaround. Roughly 170 members of Build a Rocket Boy's 250-person staff have been affected. In the past week, an undetermined number of Build a Rocket Boy staff have been laid off from the Mind's Eye developer, marking the third time in the past year that the studio has made staff redundant. However, while the number of employees affected is currently unknown, sources familiar with the restructuring tell Kotaku that roughly 170 members at the studio have been affected by the layoffs, bringing the total number of staff at the studio down to somewhere around 80 employees. While Build a Rocket Boy has yet to publicly announce the layoffs, several staff members have made posts on LinkedIn confirming that they are no longer with the studio, including James Tyler, the technical level designer, Tom Cross, audio designer, Gary Gao, QA analyst, and Leah Philpott, the level designer. The studio did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Likewise, several members of Build a Rocket Boy's social media team confirmed in posts on the Mind's Eye Discord that their roles at the studio will be ending this week. Quote, just popping in that tomorrow, May 5th, will be my last working day at Build a Rocket Boy, stated digital marketing manager George Johns Clothier. It has been an absolute pleasure and a genuine honor to be a part of this community. You folks are some of the kindest, most welcoming, talented, and passionate people I've ever had the privilege of knowing, and have made every day working on Mind's Eye feel meaningful and fun. 2 separate sources confirmed to Kotaku that as many as 170 employees across the company have been affected. This follows 2 rounds of layoffs at the studio, alongside the closure of Build a Rocket Boy France in March of this year. I didn't realize they had 2 studios, I'll be honest. CEO Mark Gerhard blamed the most recent round of cuts at Build a Rocket Boy on, quote, organized espionage and corporate sabotage in a post on LinkedIn. It's unclear where this leaves the studio moving forward. While it has gestured at ambitions of a Cyberpunk 2077 2.0 style turnaround for Mind's Eye, the recent Blacklist update left players unimpressed. The open world shooter was supposed to be just one of many worlds that would exist in a new high graphical fidelity user-generated content platform that Build a Rocket Boy was working on called Everywhere. Quote, those guys were really working hard and it didn't pan out how they expected and how we wished either. Hakan Abrak, CEO of IO Interactive, which initially distributed Mind's Eye, said this week. I do not see a turnaround coming for the game at all. I know nothing about the game, pretty much. I've never really I've just watched a few trailers and that's it. I don't see how they even have the possibility of I hope they do. I hope they have the possibility of a turnaround for everybody working on it. Hey, these are people's lives. They work there. I just don't see it. I just don't see it. That organized, let's see here, that organized espionage and corporate sabotage, that was the end of them. Once they did that, they were done. That man needs a psychiatrist. Story number 4. Well-known leaker might know the price of the Steam Machine. Pirate Nation on X reports that Valve's new Steam Machine will probably cost $600 to $650, according to the well-known leaker Moore's Law is Dead. He says the basic 512GB version is more expensive than he previously thought because memory and storage parts have gotten way more expensive lately. He says if Valve charges over $700, it's a bad idea, and you'd probably get better value from a regular PS5, which costs about $500 to $600 right now, or a similar gaming PC for around $700 to $750. For heavy Steam users, $600 could make it a smart buy, but if the price goes higher, most people would probably choose a PS5 for its exclusive games or a full PC that you can upgrade later. Valve hasn't announced the official price yet, but back in the 2010s, their first Steam machines didn't sell well for the same reason. I was sort of expecting them to be higher priced. Now, I know this isn't a confirmation or anything, but if they are $600, that will be I think that'll be a win for them, and I think they'll sell really well. With that being around the price of other consoles right now, that could just slide in, and that would be a great way for them to make a lot of sales. And I really don't think we're going to have to wait long till we figure out. With the Steam controller coming out last week, I think they're still going to be able to hit the Steam Machine this year. I don't know about the VR headset. Depending on when if the Steam Machine comes out in the next 2 months, then I could see the headset coming out in the winter. I really don't think we're going to have to wait very long to know. I tell you, I want the headset really bad. I just don't need it. I want the Steam Machine, but I really literally have zero use for it. I just want it. I'm not going to get it. I'm going to get the controller. The controller I don't need, but I can justify not needing it and still getting it more than I can justify not needing the Steam Machine and getting it, which I'm not going to do that. Depending on the price of the headset, if it's cheaper than I think it is, I could get it. But I have a Vive and it works. Just there's cables and there's boxes and, the little lighthouse boxes. And don't tempt me, Valve. You've already taken enough of my money. Story number 5, once again from Andy Robinson at VGC. Nintendo confirms Switch 2 will soon cost more in the United States, Europe, Canada, and Japan. From September 1st, 2026, the price of Switch 2 consoles in the US will increase by $50 to $499.99. In Europe, the Switch 2 hardware will increase by €30 to €499.99, and in Canada, the console will increase by $50 to $679.99. My gosh, Canada, you guys have got it rough. In light of changes in market conditions and after considering the global business outlook, Nintendo will revise the manufacturer's suggested retail prices of the Nintendo Switch 2 system and Nintendo Switch systems, the company said. We sincerely apologize for the impact these price revisions may have on our customers and other stakeholders, and we deeply appreciate your understanding. Nintendo is also increasing the price of Nintendo Switch Online subscriptions in Japan to match other regions, it said. Although the company has resisted market pressure to date, price increases for Nintendo's hardware have long been expected. Notably, the price of RAM has significantly increased over the last year, which is mainly attributed to AI data centers. And see, this is not good news for me. I have a Switch 2, but the rumors of the... listen here. The rumors of the Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time remake, which if it's real, then we're probably going to hear about it in June. And if it is, what if they end up doing a special edition Switch? And see, I could give, or maybe sell at half price, my Switch to my brother that doesn't have one, and then get that. But then it's going to cost me $50 more. So maybe the best thing I can hope for is for Nintendo to make a special edition, but it be really ugly and I don't want it. But if it's beautiful though, I'm going to have to lock the drawer where my credit card is. Don't do this to me, Nintendo. You and Gabe are both trying to take my money. Please stop it. Story number 6, and this is one, strap in here. I find this fascinating. This comes from Jason Schreier at Bloomberg. Take-Two CEO says Grand Theft Auto 6 expectations are, quote, terrifying. The upcoming video game is expected to be one of the biggest entertainment releases of all time. Strauss Zelnick, the chief executive officer of video game publisher Take-Two Interactive Software, has overseen a lot of big releases in nearly 2 decades of the job, but none have been as massive as Grand Theft Auto 6, which is expected to be one of the biggest entertainment launches of all time when it arrives on November 19th. Or should I say, if it arrives on November 19th. Anything less than an earth-shaking blockbuster would be seen as a disappointment by analysts and investors. So the stakes are high for the crime title developed by Take-Two's Rockstar Games subsidiary. The company has already delayed the release twice from its originally scheduled debut last year. I think here our goal is to deliver to consumers something that's never been experienced before, Zelnick said in an interview with Bloomberg News last week at the industry's Interactive Innovation Conference in Las Vegas, or ICON, as we mentioned last week. Being on the sidelines, but pretty close to the front of the sidelines, is very, very exciting and terrifying because the expectations are so high, he said. Grand Theft Auto 5 has sold more than 225 million copies, making it the second best-selling game of all time after Microsoft's Minecraft. The new Grand Theft Auto has been in development for more than 8 years by a team of thousands of Rockstar employees, which also marks it as one of the most expansive games ever made. The company doesn't share its games budgets, but big titles in the industry routinely cost hundreds of millions of dollars, and Grand Theft Auto 6 is estimated to be coming in significantly higher than most. Some analysts have forecast that the new Grand Theft Auto will sell upwards of 25 million units on day one. That means that selling 10 million units, a miraculous figure for most of Grand Theft Auto 6's competitors, would be considered disastrous for the game. We really do aim to deliver the highest quality entertainment on Earth, and that is costly, said Zelnick. Take-Two's strategy is to make blockbuster games, according to Zelnick. To do that, the company has to spend more freely than rivals who may be targeting a much lower number of units sold. That's the high-stakes game for big boys only, and I'm cool with it, he said. We never claim success before it occurs, said Zelnick. We have the most amazing creative teams. We not only encourage them to pursue their passions, we insist that they do it. We try to give them, and listen here, we try to give them unlimited financial, creative human resources, and then they aim to deliver perfection. When asked whether Grand Theft Auto 6 really had unlimited funds, Zelnick joked that his son is getting married in June, and, quote, we gave him an unlimited budget, and he exceeded it. GTA 6 will be released only for Xbox and PlayStation consoles at launch, with PC assumed to come out later. When he started at Take-Two in 2007, Zelnick said a release for PCs would make up perhaps 5% of sales of their basketball series NBA 2K. Now, with regard to a big title, PC can be 45 or 50% of the sales, he said. Rockstar always starts on consoles because I think with regard to a release like that, you're judged by serving the core, Zelnick said. Like really serving the core consumer. If your core consumer isn't there, if they're not served first and best, you kind of don't hit your other consumers. I personally have no plans to play GTA 6. I've never played a GTA, and I have no plans to play this one. But my gosh, I am going to be staring at this. My face is going to be so plastered against that window. Not necessarily, I'm interested in what the game's going to be like, yes. But just all this, how much money are they going to make on, let me scroll up here, on November 19th? How much money are they going to make on November 19th? It's going to be wild. And you know, I really haven't stopped to think, what happens if it's not good? Is that possible? Like they've poured so much time and money into it. And I know They have to make it perfect. Is there any chance that it won't be? Interesting things to think about. And I hope that we genuinely don't have to wait long for this. I really don't believe it'll be delayed again. They've been saying they're going to start their marketing plan soon. I assume it will be with Summer Games Fest, or at least around that time. Maybe I would love if Jeff would be able to secure the first gameplay trailer. Not that they need it. They could release it on a Twitter at 2 a.m. on a Monday and it'll get 5 billion views before I wake up. But that would be so cool. And I am sure that PlayStation, primarily PlayStation, probably Xbox too, but primarily PlayStation, is trying to pump out so many PS5s right now because they are going to sell like gangbusters. Get yours quick, folks. Get it quick. That is all of our main stories for today. But in other news, and we start out with good news. Praise the Lord. Mina the Follower. Mina the Hollower. The follower is the follow-up. Mina the Hollower finally launches on May 29th. I knew they had some problems, and I think they had like some, if this doesn't release, we might be just, up the creek without a paddle. But it's coming out. It looks good. I really haven't paid too much attention to it, but it does, the little bit I've seen, it looks good. Go buy it. I'm sure it's probably only going to be like at most 25, probably like $20. Shovel Knight is so incredible. So I fully expect this to be just as high of quality. Sony has lost $560 million on the Bungie acquisition. Ouch. VGC reports that EVE Online developer CCP Games has rebranded itself to Fenris Creations after it was sold back to its management last week, from being owned by Pearl Abyss since 2018. Something of which I had no idea about. I did not know that Pearl Abyss bought them years ago. But they are back with themselves, so congratulations, Fenris Creations. Good for you. Apparently, Star Wars Fate of the Old Republic is made up of many former BioWare devs, which is good news to me. I love Knights of the Old Republic dearly, and I desperately hope that Fate is what I've been waiting for. The Old Republic was good, but it just didn't quite scratch the itch of a single-player RPG. Garrett Fredley, the senior build engineer and IP preservation at PlayStation, said on Blue Sky that PlayStation's preservation journey is on its way, and we're not looking to stop anytime soon. Being able to share our vision, work, hopes, and dreams with Sony leadership was a special moment for our team, and I'm excited to see where we go from here. Preservation is always a wonderful thing, and I hope that they are able to preserve as many things as they can, because no game should be lost to time. That'd be a terrible thing. Leon Must Die Forever is available now as a free update to Resident Evil Requiem. Unlocked by completing the story, this additional minigame mode challenges you to clear numerous stages as Leon while unlocking exclusive enhancer abilities. The fast-paced action is distinct from the main story mode and is packed with replay value. Can you make it to the end alive and defeat the boss within the time limit? Multiple difficulty levels are available, including an extreme high difficulty mode for only the most confident players. True to the title, you'll die forever. Mixtape has released to rave reviews. Jeff Keighley released the trailer for the Summer Games Fest, which takes place on Friday, June 5th. Always a wonderful thing, because it's always so close to my birthday. So happy birthday to me. I cannot wait for this. It's going to be a blast. Whether they are good showcases or bad showcases, it's just so exciting. There's so much hype in the air, at least for me, and I can't wait. Those are all of our stories and news articles for today. And now onwards to our game highlight. The Edge of Water by Big Mood. An adventure game about a girl leading her floating village on the course of a great fish migration. Herd sea creatures, protect them from danger, and surf across both beautiful scenery and troubled waters. And it looks gorgeous. The music reminds me a bit of Journey, which is one of my favorite games of all time. There are no notes of how long this game lasts. There are no notes of when the game is coming out. But the Steam description does read, long ago, people lived underwater until Su, the life-giving spirit of the sea, cast them out for their betrayal. Now humans are cursed to walk on the water's surface, unable to reach below it. Yet the sea reaches out, taking and giving as it sees fit. Once in a generation, both humans and fish embark on a great migration towards richer waters. With the sudden loss of her parents, Hetty must take up their role as guides and lead the way for her floating village. A juvenile fish is her steadfast companion in both her journey and her grief. You have to find different species and lead them along while also defending your herd from enemy species. And this might be the coolest part, you can use your kite as a surfboard, a sail, and a parachute. I will be keeping my eye out for this, and if it looks interesting to you, make sure to follow it on Steam, but most importantly, make sure to wishlist it on Steam, as it really helps out the developer. Well, that is all the news for today. You know, I tried to order the Steam controller when it came out the other day. And by golly, I was trying to be a good employee and not, just like focus on my phone. I'm trying to work. But I also was tapping that button 12,000 times and I never did get one. I did not get one, but they opened up the reservations on Friday, yesterday. And I was able to reserve right at 1. Now, I'm sure there's like multiple thousands or hundreds of thousands of other people that were able to also reserve it at 1 o'clock. But I've got to be at least in the early hundreds of thousands. So I want one so bad. I want one so bad. So I shouldn't probably have to wait too long unless it takes Valve like months to get more stock in. Also, the Star Fox Direct, I found that it was happening like 1 minute before it happened. Very cool. I like it. I wish they wouldn't have designed the characters the way they designed the characters, but I don't hate it. I do think it looks cool. I like the way the story looks. I like how the prologue with them showing James McCloud looks more serious. I'll definitely be getting it. And more than anything, I love the cover art. The cover art, it's going to look so pretty. I don't really have a shelf to set the games, but sitting in my closet, it's going to look so nice in my closet. Also something with nice cover art, Stranger Than Heaven. Oh my gosh. I watched that presentation. I don't know if I'll end up getting the game. I've never actually beaten a Yakuza game, but holy cow. They're like 4 minute, not the whole the whole presentation was good, but like their 4 minute like just game trailer you can watch separately with the theme song playing. Oh, that song. Why is there Snoop Dogg in it? Why is his son in it? Why Tori Kelly? But my gosh, they sound so good together. And the edit, I'll put it up here. The edit at the end with the putting on the fedora. Listen, if I could be that cool, I would wear a fedora. But I wouldn't. I would look like, the milady. I would look like that if I wore a fedora. But my gosh, that edit, I could watch that all day. I've talked long enough. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time.